So today I want to talk to you a little bit about three of the most common home styles and structures in New England, and then three more that I'm in love with that there's a lot of, and if you've seen them, you're going to recognize them, but maybe there aren't as many of them around. Welcome to my classroom. I'm Chris Collette, the real estate professor. So today I want to talk to you about something that I'm in love with that maybe a lot of people don't realize, and that's architecture. So I spend a lot of time looking at a lot of different houses, and if you've ever been on a showing with me or you've ever invited me over to your home because we're going to be selling it, you've probably heard me talk a lot about the style and the strengths and weaknesses of certain home styles, floor plans, architectures, designs, layouts. I'm a huge fan of that stuff, and I love talking about it. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about three of the most common home styles and structures in New England, and then three more that I'm in love with that there's a lot of, and if you've seen them, you're going to recognize them, but maybe there aren't as many of them around. So first I want to talk about a ranch. A ranch is a home that tends to have single level living. You can get ranches that are raised or even split level, where if you've ever been in a home where you walk in the front door and there's 3 or 4 stairs up and 3 or 4 stairs down, that's either a raised ranch or a split level. Most of the living is still on one level, including the bedrooms all being on one level. So if you're thinking about maybe downsizing and getting a master bedroom on the first floor, a ranch is probably a really good fit for you. The second house that I want to talk about is a cape. If you were to just go find a kid right now and say, do me a favor, draw a picture of a house, odds are they're going to draw you a cape. They're going to draw a box with a few windows, a door right in the middle, and a triangle for the roof. That tends to be most cape styles in New England. A cape is one where the bedrooms are on the second floor, and on the first floor you usually have a kitchen, a dining room, and a living room, or you might just have all your living area in general with the bedrooms upstairs. One of the problems that people sometimes find with capes is you might feel that the square footage is a little bit less usable because on the second floor, you usually have that gable roof that can sometimes make you kind of have to walk like this through your bedrooms. The way to solve that, or the way that a lot of people have solved that over the decades, and maybe a few decades ago when construction was a lot less expensive, is to put a dormer on. That's where we take the roof, we take one side of it, and we push it out. That ends up making your cape feel a lot like a Colonial, where the second floor bedrooms are big, wide open with flat roofs. So when we talk about Colonials, this is probably the most desirable building style in New England. If you see a new development, right, they knock down a bunch of trees and they build a bunch of houses on a street that didn't exist before. Nowadays, you're probably going to see mostly Colonials, and it's because it allows the builder to sell to usually maybe a married couple with multiple kids, 2 incomes for the most amount of money. It also tends to give you the biggest square footage, sort of as an average across most house styles. Most Colonials are going to be that box, what I like to call kind of 5, 4, and a door. 5 windows across the top, 4 windows on the bottom, and a door right in the middle. This is the house that if you were to ask that same kid to draw it, if he drew that same box, but it was bigger and still had that triangle roof, that's usually the Colonial. Most Colonials will have a garage, especially in New England with our weather, and most of them will be attached. So if you're looking for a Colonial, you'll tend to get the most space, the biggest building. They tend to be pretty efficient too, since all the rooms tend to be in one big box. There are 3 styles that I want to talk about that are less traditional in New England, but are some of my personal favorites as well. The first one is a Tudor. So for example, if you were to look on, say, the west side of Worcester, there are a lot of Tudor homes there. Tudor, like the TV show. So these homes came over from England, and you'll see a lot of them will have things like stucco on the outside, or they'll have what looks like sort of a post and beam structure where the beams are exposed. They'll usually have a front gable triangle right over the front door. They tend to have cross gable roof on top where it looks like there's a roof going this way and a roof going this way. These homes, I think, are beautiful. They're an older style. You don't really see them built anymore, but if you get one of these homes, I definitely want to come over and see it. A Victorian is one that a lot of people have heard of. Victorians come in a few different flavors. There are Queen Anne's, there are Gothics, there are second eras. They'll often have a mansard roof. That's a lot of times that's when the house looks like it's almost wearing a hat. These usually have much more decoration. They tended to be way more expensive. They have a lot of extra sort of detail. You might see multiple siding structures. You might see gingerbread where the siding looks like fish scales. So there's a lot of great extra decoration, and you usually see a lot of wrought iron on these as well. decorative railings, decorative handrails, decorative windows, porticos, fan windows, lots of different details in these homes. And the last one I want to talk about is a contemporary. So a contemporary is a home usually built pretty recently and is very, very modern. These tend to be very square. They tend to have a flat roof, a lot of straight lines. They tend to be very minimalist. If you've seen any of the Netflix shows or TV shows about selling Sunset or $1 Million Listing out in California, these tend to be a lot of modern contemporary homes because they were built recently, and since they're so new, so big, they have infinity pools, lots of glass window. The clean lines tend to drive a higher price tag because they're much more modern. You see a lot of international buyers as well be very interested in these homes because they match a lot of international style as well. So if you're interested in any of these home styles or just want to talk about architecture, give me a call my team. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in Master New Hampshire, reach out to me. I'm Chris Collette, the Real Estate Professor.